Crescinum crucis Dei elevamus super hostes. Crescinum crucis Dei elevamus super hostes. Crescinum crucis Dei elevamus super hostes. In nomine Patris pugnatur, in nomine Filii morimur, et signum, signum vitae, signum passionis, signum salutis. Sanguis Christi in memoria corpus eius in conspectu cantus fit sacrificium pugna fit oratio. Et signum, signum vitae, signum passionis, signum salutis. Signum, signum vitae.
What's going on, guys? As always, unofficial. And once again, another awesome cup. All right. You already know what the video is about because you've already read the title. Khyber Optics 3D18 mid-range variable optic. So I already showed you guys the Khyber Optics MVO. In case you haven't seen that one, because I know it's hard for a lot of you to actually go click on the video list and see videos that I've already done. That apparently is a difficult task for some people. I'm not going to name names though. You know who you are. Khyber Optics is the optics line that my friend NC Scout over at Brush Beater is doing himself. Now, you know I'm going to give it to you up front. The context for my use of optics is in the role of the unprepared citizen when things have gone craptastically bad. Okay, something that we pray never happens, but we prepare for it nonetheless. And I'm prefacing stuff here, so you know, stick with me. This isn't a 2-minute infomercial. If you're looking for the 2-minute infomercial from the Cool Kid Club, aka the KKK, this video and channel ain't for you. I've always wanted optics for my rifles that met that good balance of price and cost versus features, durability, and does it do what I want it to do for the role that I'm wanting to employ it in. And for many years, probably going on, dare I say, 13 plus years now, My primary go-to choice has been something from Primary Arms and their optics line. Now, I've owned high-end stuff in the past. I've had more than my fair share of aim points and Leopolds and, you know, all that good stuff. And through friends and associates, I've gotten to play with Night Force and Vortex, and I mean, you name it. I've probably touched it, handled it, looked at it, tried it, whatever. And what a lot of people don't seem to want to tell you is that for the role of the armed prepared citizen, you can get away with a lot of optic and a lot of functionality without having to spend a whole lot of money. I know that's crazy, but yes, you can have a functional rifle system that doesn't cost you $4 grand to put together and be effective with. Point of note, about 6 years ago, my youngest son and I went to NC South's place and took the brush beater scout course. Yes, I have a video up on it. And in that class, we were engaging steel targets at 500 yards. My youngest son was using a very affordable Mossberg MVP bolt action 5.56 with a like $200 Primary Arms Arc 2 4-14 scope on it, and $7 a box at that time Hornady Frontier Match ammo, and was scoring hits at 500 like it was nobody's business. I was doing similar with my, at the time, poor man's sniper rifle. Yes, there's a video on that, a couple of them actually, which was just a simple stainless steel barreled 18-inch Palmetto State Armory with an equally affordable Primary Arms 4-14 scope on it. It was the R-Grid 2B. I still have that rifle and scope, and my son still has his rifle and scope. And we both did just fine in a very realistic scout course, getting hits at 500 yards, which is like probably some of the extreme range for not only my purposes as an armed prepared citizen, but also my terrain and situation. Yours may vary. What am I getting at with all this? Point being, you can do really good without having to spend a whole lot of money. After talking with my buddy NC Scout, and yes, he's a friend, I'm going to go ahead and make a statement right up front that I think his Khyber Optics line very well may be the new go-to optics line for the armed prepared citizen for a host of reasons. Now, if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know that I already like what I'm about to show you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be showing it to you, because I only show you and talk to you about stuff that I actually like and actually use and actually find worthwhile. I don't show you stuff that I don't like and that I don't use. So, spoiler alert, I like it. The Khyber Optics MDO mini red dot that I already showed you. That is a beast of a little red dot, especially for the price point. If I was going to encourage, or if someone come and ask me right now for the armed prepared citizen role, they're putting together their first rifle or AR pistol, AK rifle, AK pistol, whatever the case may be, and they wanted a 1X optic on it, my first choices are going to be a four-way tie. It's either going to be a Primary Arms Gen 2 Cyclops, a Primary Arms MD25, the new Primary Arms MD21, and the Khyber Optics MDO. That's the four 1X optics I would recommend to people right now, based on my own personal use. And yes, I have all four of those, and I use all four of those. So, you're here to hear about the scope. All right, I'm going to tell you about the scope. Well, first we're going to start with the mount. Yes, Khyber Optics has their own mount. It is this chongus right here. Now, why would you want to go with their mount? There's a lot of mounts on the market, a lot of good mounts on the market. This is like the tank, in my opinion, of optics mounts on the market. This thing is a beast. It is a big chunk of aluminum that's literally only 4 pieces. The main body, the 2 ring halves, and the side plate of the pick rail. That's it. There are no other moving parts or pieces to this. It is thick, it is big, it is heavy. There are lighter mounts on the market. There are also more fragile mounts on the market. You mount your scope in this mount and properly do it, it's going nowhere. If you get that reference, then good on you. Where are you going? Nowhere. This mount offers you a couple of things that other mounts on the market don't offer. Starting with a built-in bubble level. Why is that important? Well, it does 2 things for you. Number one, when you're mounting your scope, it makes it real easy to set your mount on a surface and make sure that the surface is good and level that you're setting it on, because you can look at the bubble level and see where it's at. Once you know the mount's level, you can put your scope in the mount and throw a level on top of your scope, and as long as the level on your scope matches the level on the mount, guess what? Everything's perpendicular and all those kind of good geometric terms. It's where it should be, which is important when you're zeroing and trying to take longer range shots. Because if your scope isn't perpendicular and true to the mount and the rifle, then that throws ballistics off and we get into all kind of just aggravating nightmare stuff, okay? So it's built-in level. You'll also notice there's a lot of holes on this thing, right? That is because it comes with an extra bag full of screws, and instead of having to mount things to your scope via extra rings and everything else, this will allow you to actually mount stuff right to the scope mount itself, where it's nice and solid and rigid, all those other kind of things. A lot of built-in cool features to that. The rings have 3 screws on each side, so 6 screws per ring. The scope ain't going nowhere. On the pick bar on the side, instead of just having 2 screws like most, you've got 4. When you clamp this down on your gun and torque it right, put a little blue Loctite on everything, it's gonna go, that's right, nowhere. The weight penalty of this big chongus mount is offset by the durability and the features that it offers, and the fact that it will take way more abuse than you should be giving to your gun. Way more. Now, the mount comes with your appropriate Torx wrench. I forget if it's either a T25 or T20. I want to say it's T20. I could be wrong. I hadn't checked. It's one or the other. You'll figure it out. It comes with one though, so you're good. Also comes with a handy dandy little tool that if you needed to, it assists in you lapping your scope rings. You shouldn't need to lap your scope rings. I don't. Mine works just fine without it. I feel pretty confident in saying that yours probably will too. If you find that yours needs lapping, you're probably way overthinking the situation. Alright, so that is pretty much the mount. It is a 34mm mount, by the way. For the scope itself, this is our 3-18. I know a bunch of you are going to want to know. Half the time it's irrelevant, but for those of you that are statistic nuts, because the numbers mean more to you than actually just getting out and using your stuff. As I said, it's a 3-18. 50 millimeter objective, 34 millimeter tube diameter, first focal plane, quarter MOA adjustments, maximum elevation and windage is 96 MOA on both. Eye relief is somewhere between 3.9 3.5 inches. Parallax is in yards. Parallax correction is 15 to 300 yards. It is an illuminated reticle. You'll probably never need to really illuminate the reticle, but it's there for those of you that think you have to. It takes a regular CR 2032 battery. It weighs 25.7 ounces and is 13.3 inches long. Be envious. That is the general specs for those of you that care. Now, for the rest of us, what has it got and why do I like it? First off, you've got a standard diopter on the rear that you can focus the reticle to your eye. Anybody who's like me and has a bad astigmatism greatly appreciates the ability to do that. That way I can actually see the reticle and all the finer points of it. You have got your adjustment ring right here. Point of note on the adjustment ring, 2 points actually. Number one, it is stiff enough that wherever you put it at, you can bump it, move it, rub it up against stuff, and it's not going to just arbitrarily change magnification of what you've got it set on. Secondly, there is a screw right here, and you do get a piece to add on if you want a nice big knob sticking up there to grab onto to quicker rotate it. It's trade-off. It gives you something extra to leverage on, but it's an extra snag point. Depends on what you're doing, what your personal preference is, how you want to set it up. You have locking turrets. You have got your windage elevation. On this side, battery cap, then your illumination, and then your parallax adjustment. The illumination goes from 0 to 6. Yeah, 0 to 6. Well, 1 to 6 actually. And in between each setting is an off position. So let's say, for whatever reason, you feel like you've got to run the illumination on an etched reticle, and you need the illumination at 5. You can turn it up or down, either direction, one click, and it turns it off. And you know to turn it back on, you only got to go one click, whichever direction was opposite of how you turned it off. Kind of nice. Your parallax adjustment on the side. Now it is very stiff. I like that. I want that stiff because once I get that set somewhere, I don't want it to change unless I intentionally want it to change. Once you get it mounted on the gun, it is perfectly movable. You just got to use your actual man hands and not be afraid to grab it and turn it. Okay? Your turrets. They are very well marked. You've got your 0 visible to you from the shooter's perspective, and they are simple. Pull it up and you turn. Push it down to lock it. Now, once you do that, once you get it zeroed, right, you get this nice little polymer tool right here. You notice it's got little nubs on it. Those nubs perfectly fit your screws right here. You undo this screw. That will allow you to take the turret cap completely off. You line it back up on 0, put it back on, and then snug it back down. Now, if you need to make any windage or elevation adjustments as you do your dope card, you do your dope card, right? Okay. As you do your windage and elevation adjustments, you get your dope card made out. When it's time to go back to 0, you simply turn the turret till it's lined up back on 0 again. That's the benefit of being able to take this off, reset it, put it back to 0. Now, point of note, and I've already talked with NC Scott about this. When you take the turret caps off, there's going to be another locking ring underneath there with 3 little set screws in it, and you get this nice little Allen wrench right here. Do not mess with that. Don't worry about it. For what we're talking about, the Armed Private Citizen, don't worry about that. Ignore that. Leave it alone. Okay? Just undo it, put it back to 0, put it back on. That's all you need to do. Okay? The extra rings underneath there are for doing other things that most of us probably aren't going to need to worry about. So if you just zero the scope, take the screw out, take the cap off, line the 0 back up, put it back on when the 0 is in line, put the cap screw back on, do your dope, you're fine. Okay? The little tool there does have a nice little notch in it. You can run some paracord through it, whatever you want, and attach it to your gear, bag, whatever, so that you've always got the nice little polymer tool. Nice thing about this is it does 2 things. A, it means you can always have a tool with you if for whatever reason you need to change something. Secondly, it allows you to take the screws for the caps on and off without A, marring up the screws like with a screwdriver and burn them all up, stripping them out, whatever, because the polymer is going to strip before that does, and doesn't mar up the actual finish of it, which is not really a thing, but you know, if you've gone to the time to get it colored and painted like you should, then you know, you might not want it scratched up. Personally, I don't care, but this tool will prevent that for those of you that are worried about maintaining that pristine showroom floor perfect image and beauty so that you can impress all your friends on Instagram with how clean and pristine and sharp and beautiful your equipment is that you never actually take out and use. You will also get with the scope a handy dandy little cleaning cloth to wipe the lenses. Those of you that don't ever actually take it out and train with it probably won't need that. Those of you that do, you know, when you get half a gallon of sweat dripped onto the scope while you're moving into position to take shots, that's nice to have to clean it off after a day of getting it all sweaty and grimy and dirty. Front flip up lens cap, rear flip up lens cap, you get those. Another nice little touch that comes with this is you also get a sunshade. You do not have to buy this separately, and it simply screws right onto the front. For those of you that don't know, sunshade does a couple of things. First, it helps reduce glare coming into the scope from light entering at different angles from the sun reflecting off stuff and putting glare into the scope and making it hard to see things. Gives you a nice glare-free picture. And it also helps to hide your position at distance, because now the glass itself, which is what reflects light if you are on the other end and the sunlight hits it and bing, this changes the angle at which the sunlight can enter and hit that glass and reflect it, much decreasing the ability for you to get seen by scope glint. Doesn't eliminate it altogether, but it does change it so that the light's got to be coming pretty good angles in front of you. It can't just be coming from the side like this to reflect off. So sunshade's a nice thing to have. You will also notice on the bottom, for those of you that don't know, there's a nice little port right there for it to be nitrogen purged, which helps you keep from getting all kind of condensation and foggy stuff inside the scope. Did I mention that it's a first focal plane? I think I mentioned that whenever we showed you the box, but in case I didn't, because you know, CRS disease is a thing, it is a first focal plane. For what those of you that don't know, first focal plane means that as you change the magnification on the scope, the reticle increases or decreases in size correspond with the magnification. That makes it so that your zero and holdover marks maintain their proper point of aim, point of impact throughout the magnification range, versus say a second focal plane scope where the reticle is always the same size, and as you increase magnification it can somewhat alter your point of aim, point of impact in correspondence with the reticle. It varies from scope to scope how much that is and how much of a problem that is. At close to semi mid-range, you know, say a couple hundred yards, it's not really a big deal. But when you start getting out there, you know, 300, 400, 500 yards, that's where it can start really making a difference of having that that point of impact stay true with your reticle. So it is the first focal plane. It's a chonky scope. I've just been playing with it around the hacienda, and I really like it. The reticle itself, so the reticle itself is in minute of angle / yards, not meters, and it's a duplex type reticle. You do have numbered holdovers both on your elevation and windage, and then you've got windage holdovers on the bottom for each measurement. There is a single dot in the center that's your centermost fine aiming point. You do have three broad stadias on your 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, but the rest of the reticle is fairly fine. So what that means is that at 3x magnification, the reticle is very, very fine. Can be a little bit hard to see. That's irrelevant. We don't buy a scope like this to try to aim with on 3x. On 3x, you're probably primarily going to be more surveying an area, right? Because you get a bigger field of view. And then, oh, there's my target. And then you dial up your magnification to take your shot. And that's when it gets bigger. Just one example. The nice thing about the reticle is it does not cover up a lot of your target. That was something that I know NC Scout was very particular about wanting, that some reticles will obscure a lot of your target, which, yeah, it gives you a nice beefy reticle lines to see, but you sacrifice seeing part of your target because it's covering it up when you've got the bigger, beefier reticles. So I could see where if you've got an accurate rifle and the right ammo combo going, this would give you some very accurate capability. This is going to be a accurate, and I use the word loosely, scope. You're going to be able to see plenty of your target. You're going to be able to follow the aim small, miss small principle quite well, because you will be able to see the small things to aim for. Now, what am I going to do with this scope? Well, I've got two options. I like it a lot, a whole lot. I can do one of two things. And I'm not asking for your opinion per se, I'm just telling you because we're just sitting here talking. I can replace my tried and true, proven scope that's on my poor man sniper rifle, or this is kind of like the equivalent of having a spare detent pin around. If you got a spare detent pin around, somehow it just manifests itself into a new gun. I could swap this out on my existing one, or I could try to find me a really nice barrel, but then I'd have to build another gun around the barrel, but then I could put this on the new gun and barrel and make another accurate rig. Decisions. We're going to have to ponder that one. Anybody watching this, any of you companies out there got a nice 18-inch barrel you'd like like me to try out and do a video on, I got a good scope to put on it if anybody's got a nice 18-inch barrel. Why 18? Because that's just my preferred favorite. Anyway, Khyber Optics. Just a word about them real quick and then we'll wrap up. Right now, in the lineup that NC Scouts got, and I don't want to miss this. I want to make sure I tell you accurately. So you've got the 1X MVO red dot that I've already showed you in another video. He's got a 1 to 10 variable that I'm also eager to check out, because that might be kind of nice to have on my DMR. Not gonna lie. You've got this 3 to 18. He's also got a 5 to 25. So for you guys out in the plain states, Midwest, whatever, that's got them long open spaces where y'all are out there with them long range things, that 5 to 25 might be right up your alley. And he's also got on the way a nice simple 3 to 9. A lot of reasons for a 3 to 9. We'll get into that on a later date. He's also got coming a 1 to 5 LPVO, and then the much anticipated, and I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, I'm going to wing it with my redneck education, the Jambia, which is the fixed 3X prism that he's got coming. That is also very, very high on my list. That 3X and the 1 to 10 are both very high. Now, I'm not going to spill the beans right now. I'll wait and let him do it. But he also has a couple of other optics in the works that hopefully will be out sometime next year. Don't have any exact dates or time frames, but hopefully he'll have them out next year. Why am I pointing all this out? I feel like, from what I've seen so far and what I know, I think his optics line could be the new face of and one-stop shop for the armed prepared citizen for optics. Whether you're wanting a 1X red dot all the way up to a 5x50, 5x56. There's not much in what we as armed prepared citizens could be wanting to do throughout any region of the country that I don't think he's going to have an optic for. And it's going to give you an optic at a price point that's actually a steal for what you're getting quality wise. I think it's going to give some other places a real serious run for their money and some real serious competition. Again, for the armed prepared citizen, I feel very excited about what he's got coming with these, and thinking back to what I've been doing over 30 plus years, 40 plus years. These are optics that I would have loved to have seen and had a long time ago. Whew. This is good stuff, guys, and there's more good stuff coming. There, we're supposed to do the alright. If you've watched all the way to the end now, kudos to you. You are an absolute trooper who is apparently into self-deprivation. And my proverbial hat's off to you. Thank you for sticking around this long, including through the rants. In all seriousness, I do truly believe this is good stuff, and he's got more good stuff coming. I will put a link in the description box. No, I don't get paid a dime to make this video. I don't get paid a dime to talk about the stuff. I don't get paid a dime to do anything. There's no money. Okay? Does that satisfy everybody? For all the shill bots out there. I already told you he's a friend of mine, and I like talking about friends' businesses. If that's what constitutes being a shill, then, well, sign me up. You guys take care, stay safe. Drink coffee. Get out there and practice and train. Whatever it is you've got, use it. Learn it. Get good with it. The only way you do all that's by actually getting out there and doing it. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Keep getting ready. I will see you later.